Hey everyone, welcome to a quick note. Today we're diving into the mysterious world of the Alcatraz escapees, a tale that continues to baffle us even decades later. Buckle up for a journey through history and intrigue. Welcome to Alcatraz, aka The Rock, a tough old prison on an island near San Francisco. It used to be a military base way back since 1853, but guess what happened on January 1st, 1934? The US government turned it into a super secure federal prison. Alcatraz was like a VIP club for some of America's most famous bad guys. We're talking about big names like Al Capone, Robert Stroud, and George Machine Gun Kelly. It's like they had their own little party on the Rock. Alcatraz in the middle of tricky waters, all decked out with the best security gear and super strict rules. They called it escape-proof. In the 29 years it was up and running, there were 14 times when inmates tried to make a run for it. But hold on, here's the kicker. Not a single escape was officially confirmed as successful. Yep, you heard it right. Out of those 14 tries, 23 guys got caught, 7 were shot as they tried to run away, and at least 3 ended up drowning. The Rock was one tough nut to crack. But wait, there's a twist in the tale. In one daring escape, Frank Morris and the Anglin brothers, Clarence and John, vanished without a trace. Everyone thought they might have drowned, but here's the mystery. Their bodies were never found. Alcatraz, with all its super tight security, and yet these guys managed to break free. How on earth did they pull off such a Houdini act? And could they still be out there, living life on the run? The whole thing is like a real-life puzzle waiting to be solved. Alright, let's talk about the guys in the mix. So once Alcatraz became a federal prison, it got a serious upgrade. Super strong iron bars and guard towers placed just right, like a fortress. Plus, the inmates had to follow strict rules, including being checked multiple times a day. It was like the Fort Knox of prisons, the ultimate maximum security deal. They weren't taking any chances at the Rock. Now let's meet the players in this real-life drama. First up, we've got Frank Morris, a guy known for robbing banks, breaking into places, and making a habit of escaping from prisons. He landed on Alcatraz's doorstep in January 1960. Soon after, John Anglin showed up later that year, and his brother Clarence joined the party in early 1961. Another player in the mix was Alan West, who had been doing time at Alcatraz since 1957. Quite the interesting lineup on the Rock. These 4 guys weren't strangers. They had a history from being locked up together before. They ended up in cells next to each other. Now imagine late-night chats where they cooked up a plan to break free. And guess who was the brains behind it? Morris, the smart one, took charge of the whole escape plot. It was like a secret mission brewing in those adjoining cells on Alcatraz. Now let's fast forward to the big day, June 12, 1962. During the usual morning bed check. Surprise! 3 prisoners were missing from their cells. But get this, in each cell there was a fake head made of paper mache. Those crafty heads fooled the night guards into thinking the guys were snoozing. The moment this was uncovered, Alcatraz hit the panic button, lockdown mode engaged, and they launched a full-on search operation. It was like something out of a movie, but this was the real deal at the Rock. When things got wild, the FBI stepped in for backup. They used their offices all over the country to dig into the records of these missing prisoners. Turns out all 3 had a history of trying to escape. The FBI went the extra mile, chatting with the prisoners' relatives and giving a heads up to boat operators nearby, telling them to keep an eye out for any floating stuff. The morning after the escape, sailors on a big cargo ship spotted something in the bay, a body floating around. But here's the twist. Before they could grab it, it slipped under the waves. The mystery deepened. Fast forward to June 14th, and things took an interesting turn. A bunch of letters tied up in rubber was found floating around. It was like a mysterious packet. Meanwhile, the Coast Guard stumbled upon some paddle-like pieces of wood just chilling in the water. The plot thickened, and it seemed like these escape artists left a few breadcrumbs behind in the bay. Fast forward 6 days, and guess what? Pieces of rubber inner tube started showing up on the shore near the Golden Gate Bridge. Just when you thought it couldn't get more interesting. The next day, a DIY life vest was found near Cronkite Beach. Now buckle up for the next 10 days. A massive search party scoured the land, air, and sea around Alcatraz and beyond. They turned every stone, looked high and low. But guess what? No luck. The mystery of the disappearing inmates was still wide open. So how did they escape? Now here's where it gets interesting. Teaming up with the Coast Guard, Bureau of Prison Authorities, and a few others, the FBI played detective. They even had a helping hand from inmate Alan West, who didn't manage to break free in time to join the escapees. Together, they started connecting the dots and slowly unraveling the whole escape plot. It was like putting together a puzzle, and step by step they were figuring out just how these guys pulled off their disappearing act. The plot thickens. The story goes that these guys started plotting their escape back in December. They got their hands on some saw blades left behind in the prison workshops, and metal spoons from the dining hall. Resourceful, right? Now picture them crafting a makeshift drill using the motor of a busted-up vacuum cleaner. Sneaky. They went on to carefully loosen the air vents under their sinks, and get this, they covered up the holes with painted cardboard. To throw everyone off, Morris, the brains of the operation played his accordion during the daily music hour. Smart move, using the music to mask the drilling noise and keep everyone clueless about their plan. It's like a prison escape straight out of a movie. Right behind their cells was a quiet utility corridor, just waiting to be explored. Sneaking through there, they finally made their way to the roof of their cell block. Now here's where the plot thickens. These crafty guys created fake heads using toilet paper, soap, toothpaste, and even used flesh-tone paint from the maintenance workshop. And get this, they added a touch of realism with real human hair collected from the barbershop floor. Talk about attention to detail. But that's not all. To throw off the guards, they stuffed clothes and towels under their blankets. So, when everyone thought they were cozy in bed, they were actually up on the roof, secretly working on the tools they needed for their great escape. It's like a prison escape artist's playbook. Imagine this. For months, these guys worked away without anyone suspecting a thing. Their secret workshop included turning more than 50 raincoats, leftovers from World War II, into makeshift life jackets. These raincoats were made from cotton with a rubber backing. But wait, there's more. They went on to create a rubber raft by stitching the seams together and sealing them using the prison's hot steam pipes. That's some serious DIY innovation. And if that wasn't enough, they crafted wooden paddles for their escape journey. Oh, and they swiped a concertina, a small accordion-like instrument, from another inmate, using it to inflate their raft. It's like they turned the prison into their personal workshop, fashioning everything they needed for a daring escape. Talk about resourceful. Now here's where it gets really wild. They figured out this maze of pipes that let them climb all the way up to the ceiling, about 9 meters high. Once up there, they did some serious handiwork, prying open the ventilator at the top of the shaft. But they weren't done yet. To keep everything on the down low, they crafted a fake bolt using soap, temporarily securing the ventilator. It's like a scene from an action-packed movie. These guys turned a high-security prison into their own personal climbing gym. On the evening of June 11th, 1962, their makeshift raft was good to go, and it was game time. Now here's where things took a twist. Alan West hit a snag. The cement around his vent had hardened, blocking his escape. Tough break. But for the other three, it was a different story. They managed to squeeze through their cell vents, sneak into the utility corridor, grab their gear, and then crawled up the ventilator pipes like real-life Spider-Men, making their way to the prison roof. The great escape was officially underway. Hold on tight, because here's where it gets even more thrilling. Once on the prison roof, these escape artists slid down the bakery smokestack pipe at the back of the cell house. Picture this. They scaled not one but two 12-foot barbed wire fences like it was a walk in the park. And get this. They moved like shadows to the island's northeast shore, where the searchlights couldn't catch them. It's like they were playing hide-and-seek with the security system. From there, they quietly launched their raft into the vast Pacific Ocean. The crazy part? The whole escapade went undetected by the prison's security. It's a real-life prison break worthy of a Hollywood blockbuster. So what officially happened? And now the plot thickens even more. What happened to these escape artists remains one of the biggest mysteries. Their plan was to reach Angel Island and then cross the Raccoon Strait into Marin County. Sounds like a solid plan, right? But here's the twist. The FBI, after a thorough investigation, concluded that it was unlikely they actually made it. The escape still stands as one of those unsolved puzzles, leaving everyone scratching their heads about the fate of these daring inmates. It's like the ending of a suspenseful story that keeps you guessing. There's been some debate about the fate of these escape artists. While some folks thought they might have pulled off a great escape and survived, the FBI had a different take. They argued that the bay's strong currents and chilly waters made the odds of survival pretty slim. To add to their case, pieces of the raft and paddles washed up near Angel Island, leading the FBI to claim that this suggested the men had drowned or succumbed to hypothermia. It's like a real-life mystery where theories clash, leaving us wondering what truly happened to those elusive escapees. Now here's a curious twist. Inmate West spilled the beans about the plan. The idea was to snag clothes in a car once they reached land. But here's the head-scratcher. No thefts matching their description were ever found. Heading to the mystery, the families of these men didn't have the means to support them financially. Fast forward 17 years, and not a single piece of credible evidence popped up suggesting that these guys were still kicking around. Surveillance never caught a glimpse of them in their hometowns or at family get-togethers. It's like they vanished into thin air, leaving everyone puzzled. The FBI put the official stamp on this mind-boggling case on December 31st, 1979, closing it down. But wait, there's more. They handed the baton over to the U.S. Marshal Service, and these guys were determined. They promised to keep digging until 2030, even if it meant the escapees would be over 100 years old by then. It's like they're saying, this mystery isn't over until we've turned every stone, no matter how long it takes. The escape saga lives on. The story doesn't end there, as some folks are not buying the FBI's conclusion about the escapees meeting their demise. Why? Well, for starters, no bodies were ever found in the bay, leaving a room for doubt. The U.S. Marshal Service added another layer to the mystery by proposing that the raft and paddle might have been discovered on Angel Island itself, complete with footsteps leading away. It's like they're suggesting the escape artists might have made it to land. Reports of a stolen car in Marin County matched the description of a vehicle taken by 3 men on that very night. Rumor has it they almost caused a collision. It's these lingering questions and curious incidents that keep the theory alive that maybe, just maybe, the escapees actually made it. Now fast forward over 50 years, and the Anglin family added another layer to this enigma. Turns out, Clarence and John Anglin's mother claimed to have received Christmas cards and postcards signed by the escapees for 3 years after the Great Escape. And that's not all. Every year until her death in 1973, she received flowers anonymously. At her funeral, things got even more mysterious. 2 very tall men, heavily made up, attended. Family members believed, or at least speculated, that these disguised figures were none other than Clarence and John Anglin. It's like a page out of a spy novel, with clues and disguises keeping the mystery alive even decades later. The escape saga continues. The saga of investigations and tips continued. In 1975, a childhood friend shared a photo claiming it depicted the Anglin brothers at a bar in Brazil. An analyst hired by the Anglin family vouched for the photo's legitimacy, but the FBI wasn't convinced. In 1989, Robert Anglin, the brother of Clarence and John, made a startling claim. He said 2 men showed up to view his deceased father's body, shed tears, and then vanished. The same year, 2 women insisted they had spotted the escapees on a farm in Florida, but despite the claims, no concrete evidence was found. The twists and turns in this mystery just keep on coming, adding another layer to this long-standing mystery. In 2018, someone claiming to be John Anglin wrote a letter to the San Francisco Police Department. The letter declared that all 3 prisoners had successfully survived their escape, but he claimed to be the sole survivor. The mysterious writer offered to turn himself in, seeking medical treatment. However, the FBI, always skeptical, doubted the authenticity of the letter after inconclusive handwriting analysis. Despite the attention it gained, no further communication occurred, leaving the authenticity of the letter and the fate of the escapees once again shrouded in uncertainty. The unsolved puzzle of the Alcatraz escape endures. In June 2022, age-processed images of the escapees, now potentially in their 90s, were unveiled. This development holds significance as it suggests the possibility of a credible tip indicating that at least one of the men might still be alive. The release of these images underscores that the manhunt for the elusive Alcatraz escapees persists, adding a new chapter to the enduring mystery. Shortly after the infamous escape in 1962, Alcatraz shut its doors in 1963, purportedly due to financial reasons. However, the enigma surrounding Alcatraz endures as numerous documents from the prison remain missing. The fate of the most notorious escapees from Alcatraz remains an unsolved mystery, leaving the island shrouded in a captivating aura of intrigue and unanswered questions. And there you have it, folks, the unsolved mystery of the Alcatraz escape. If you enjoyed this quick dive into history, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe to A Quick Note for more intriguing stories. Who knows what mysteries we'll unravel together next? Thanks for joining us, and until next time, stay curious.